Welcome to today's class. I am Dr. Jayashree. The topics we are going to learn about today are sedatives and hypnotics and anticonvulsants. After we complete sedatives and hypnotics, we will move on to anticonvulsants. So first, we need to know about some definitions. So what are they? Sedation. Sedation is decrease in alertness and responsiveness to any level of stimulation without inducing sleep. And what is hypnosis? It is a state that resembles natural sleep, but the person can be aroused by strong stimuli like pinprick or the sound of the alarm clock. Anxiety. It is an adaptive response which prepares a person to face the challenges of life, and the symptoms are characterized by psychological symptoms and sympathetic and somatic symptoms also. And what are the psychological symptoms? They are tension, fear, apprehension, lack of concentration. And sympathetic and somatic symptoms, tachycardia, tremors, sweating, and gastrointestinal distress, etc. And when you give sedatives and hypnotics to the patient, usually this is how it goes. Like first, the patient will experience relief of anxiety, and then there is a disinhibition, then sedation happens. After that, hypnosis will be following. After that, if the dose is still continuing, and it can cause anesthesia, and it might also cause coma and death if the dose is higher and being overused. Now coming to classification of hypnotics, these are classified as selective GABA A receptor agonists, non-selective non-benzodiazepine GABA A receptor agonist, and melatonin receptor agonist, orexin receptor antagonist, and miscellaneous. And in this, again, in selective GABA A receptor agonist, it is again divided into benzodiazepines, non-benzodiazepines. Benzodiazepines example, diazepam, oxazepam, lorazepam, etc. Non-benzodiazepines example, zopiclone, zolpidem, zalopidem, which are also called Z drugs. And non-selective non-benzodiazepine GABA A receptor agonists are again divided into barbiturates and non-barbiturates. Barbiturates examples are phenobarbital, pentobarbital. Non-barbiturates examples are chloral hydrate, paraldehyde. And melatonin receptor agonist is rameltium, orexin receptor antagonist, suvorexant, and other miscellaneous. The sedative antihistaminics, example, diphenhydramine, promethazine, also can act as sedatives. And tricyclic antidepressants, example, doxepin, also can act as a sedative. Coming to benzodiazepines, they are classified on the basis of duration of action. They are classified into short acting, intermediate acting, and long acting. The drugs under short acting are triazolam, oxazepam, midazolam, and intermediate acting are alprazolam, estazolam, temazepam, lorazepam, nitrazepam, and the long acting are diazepam, durazepam, clonazepam, chlordiazepoxide. And the sites of action where these drugs act are limbic system, midbrain ascending reticular activating system, which is associated with the wakefulness, and medullary site of action, and cerebellum. Coming to mechanism of action, these drugs selectively bind with high affinity to modulatory site on GABA A receptor. GABA A receptor is distinct from GABA binding site, and the receptor site is very specific for benzodiazepines, also hence also referred as benzodiazepine receptor. And this increases the frequency of GABA-gated chloride channel opening. Coming to pharmacokinetics, the absorption except midazolam, all can be given orally. Midazolam can be given intramuscularly or intravenously. Distribution, there is marked volume of distribution, and these drugs, diazepam, oxazepam, chlordiazepoxide, their drugs are greater than, they are bound greater than 90% protein bound, and these drugs process placental barriers, all benzodiazepines. Coming to metabolism, many undergo this phase 1 and phase 2 biotransformation reactions, and accumulation is significant with intermediate and long-acting benzodiazepines. Excretion, excreted in urine. Coming to therapeutic uses of benzodiazepines, these are used to treat anxiety neurosis, to treat insomnia, and for pre-anesthetic medication and induction of anesthesia, as skeletal muscle relaxants, as anticonvulsants, and treatment of alcohol withdrawal also. Coming to adverse drug reactions, dose-dependent ADRs are drowsiness, fatigue, disorientation, lethargy, impairment of psychomotor skills, and other ADRs. Suicidal risk is very minimal, faster when the drug is given intravenously in faster IV. It can precipitate cardiac arrest, so it should not be given for like fastly, like you should give slow IV. And these drugs have a capability of like causing tolerance in the patient and also dependence, so it should be monitored carefully, and it can cause increased confusion and forgetfulness in elderly people because of the decreased metabolism in elderly people. There can be accumulation of the metabolites of the benzodiazepines and can cause this increased confusion and forgetfulness. Coming to drug interactions, they potentiate effects of other CNS depressants, and smoking decreases activity of benzodiazepines. Aminophylline antagonizes sedative effects of benzodiazepines, and cimetidine ketoconazole enhance the benzodiazepine action. Coming to inverse agonists and antagonists of benzodiazepines, inverse agonists are beta-carbolin. This beta-carbolin acts and produces signs of anxiety and convulsions. Coming to antagonists, only one antagonist, flumazenil. And what is its significance is, it is mainly used to reverse the benzodiazepine anesthesia and treat the benzodiazepine overdose toxicity. And on IV injection, effects start spontaneously and lasts for 1 to 2 hours. Main use of this flumazenil is they reverse benzodiazepine anesthesia. There we should give 0.5 mg IV, and in benzodiazepine overdose toxicity, we should give 0.25 mg per minute, maximum 5 mg until patient regains consciousness. Coming to next, non-benzodiazepines, also called Z drugs, zolpidem, zaliplam, zopiclone, zopiclone. These acts on two types of benzodiazepine receptors. Those are benzodiazepine 1 and benzodiazepine 2 receptors. This first receptor, this is found throughout brain and cerebellum. This is responsible for anti-anxiety, sedative, and hypnotic action. And benzodiazepine 2, it is found mainly in cerebral cortex and hippocampus and spinal cord. This is associated with muscle relaxation, anticonvulsant action, and amnesia. So you can see the tabular form, that plasma half-life, zolpidem, zaliplam 2 to 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, and zopiclone, the little more than the previous one, 6 to 8 hours, and zopiclone 6 hours. Dose 10 to 20 mg for both zolpidem and zaliplam. For zopiclone 7.5 mg and zopiclone 1 to 3 mg. And in all these drugs, daytime residual sedation is very minimal, And rebound insomnia also is minimal. Rebound insomnia is usually if you treat insomnia is lack of sleep. Uh, if the insomnia is being treated by these drugs, if the drugs stopped at some point, uh, like not only drugs, if any drugs, for some drugs that insomnia can again come back. That is called rebound insomnia. As soon as the drug is stopped, again the patient may experience insomnia. And this is minimal with Z drugs. The antagonist for these Z drugs is also flumazenil, and muscle relaxant and anticonvulsant actions of these drugs, though there, but they are negligible. Risk of tolerance and dependence is lesser than that of benzodiazepines. Adverse drug reactions include headache, daytime drowsiness, nightmares, etc. Coming to barbiturates. These barbiturates based on the duration of action are classified into ultra short acting, longer acting. And ultra short acting are thiopental, methotrexate. Short acting are pentobarbital, amobarbital. Longer acting, phenobarbital, methylbarbital. Mechanism of action, these drugs acts on channel modulatory site of GABA A receptor, and these potentiate GABA mediated inhibitory effects and exhibits GABA emetic action, but these are not any GABA facilitatory action. They just mimic that GABA. GABA is, we already if you saw previous classes, you know GABA is a inhibitory neurotransmitter. Pharmacokinetics. Absorption depends on lipid solubility. It can be given slow IV, orally, or rectally. And distribution depends again on lipid solubility and raised in blood. And it is metabolized by phase 1. Excuse me. And metabolism is by phase 1 and phase 2 biotransformation reactions. Excretion, it is readily reabsorbed from renal tubules and excreted through urine. Coming to pharmacological effects, these ultra short acting, usually they depress CNS. They are CNS depressants, and long acting, they are primarily sedative anticonvulsant actions are there with the long acting drugs. Decrease duration of REM sleep. REM means rapid eye movements, and these drugs may show hyperalgesia, may show amnesia, and higher doses depresses myocardium and respiration. Therapeutic uses, these are used as sedatives and hypnotics, also in anesthesia, and also as anticonvulsant, and to treat hyperbilirubinemia of neonates. Coming to adverse drug reactions, on repeated use, they may cause metabolic tolerance. And there is a considerate amount of abuse liability also. The patient might take it again and again without prescription. And hangover, impairment of judgment, drug automatism might happen after the drug is taken. And respiratory depression, laryngeal edema, hypersensitivity reactions are also a possibility. Coming to drug interactions, these reduce effectiveness of various drugs due to induction of metabolism, like for example, oxypils, anticoagulants, tolbutamide, theophylline. These are also metabolized by enzymes. So because of the induction of the metabolism, they might have decreased action because they are getting metabolized faster. Contraindications in liver dysfunction, kidney diseases, severe pulmonary insufficiency, and patients having family history of porphyrias, they should not use barbiturates. Acute barbiturate toxicity and treatment. This barbiturate toxicity mostly suicidal, very rarely accidental, and the toxicity is characterized by respiratory failure, cardiovascular failure, collapse, coma, and renal failure. The treatment includes gastric levels, artificial respiration, and forced alkaline diuresis with mannitol and sodium bicarbonate. So that in alkaline condition, it will be excreted efficiently. Coming to melatonin receptor agonist, Rameltion is melatonin receptor agonist. First, what is melatonin? Melatonin is a hormone produced in pineal gland from the amino acid tryptophan, and its secretion is inhibited by light but promoted by darkness. Why is this melatonin important? It is involved in skin coloration and affecting sleep pattern. This Rameltion is a selective agonist at these melatonin receptors MT1 and MT2. So these are approved for the treatment of insomnia. So what are the adverse drug reactions associated with the drug are fatigue, dizziness, somnolence. Coming to orexin receptor antagonist, orexin A and B are normal neuropeptides released by neurons in the hypothalamus. These are widely protected in CNS, and these promotes the wakefulness. So what happens if the orexin signaling is lost? It can cause narcolepsy. The drug which is acting as an antagonist is suvorexant. This promotes sleep by preventing orexin neuropeptides from binding to the receptors. And given orally, this has long half-life and is protein bound. It is a substrate for cytochrome P3A4 enzyme. Promethazine, it is a sedative antihistaminic. It is also anti-emetic, anticholinergic, and its onset of action is usually within 1 hour. Duration of action is 10 to 12 hours. Dose 25 milligrams at bedtime to be given. Uses nighttime sedation, and in children it can act as sedative, hypnotic, 10 milligrams orally bedtime. Coming to sleep, while falling asleep, normally people passes through two important stages, that is like two types of sleep, that is NREM and REM. NREM is non-rapid eye movement sleep and REM is rapid eye movement sleep. And in this sequentially the stages 1, 2, 3 and 4 of NREM sleep. After about 90 to 120 minutes of NREM sleep, REM sleep occurs, lasting for 5 to 30 minutes. This NREM REM cycle repeats 4 to 5 times during the night. In general, this NREM stages 1 and 2 constitute 50 to 60%, and 3 and 4 15 to 25%, and REM 20 to 25% of total sleep in young adults. Usually, the people will wake up after in the REM stage, at the end of REM stage. So this is a description like in the tabular form, how that stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4 will be there. Here, the onset of sleep, that patient can be easily awakened in 1 and 2, but in 3, he will start to go into a deeper sleep. Here, the heart rate and blood pressure will fall in the stage 3, and it lasts for 4 to 6% of total sleep time. After that, the deepest stage of sleep will start, and this lasts little longer than stage 1 or stage 3. And here, this is where the children have nightmares, and also sleepwalking can happen here in this stage of sleep. After that REM sleep, this is characterized by eye movements and loss of muscle tone. And here dreaming takes place in this REM sleep, and mind is very active here like a normal waking state. Coming to sleep disorders, clinically sleep disorders manifest as insomnia, hypersomnia, parasomnia, and other miscellaneous circadian rhythm disorders and restless like syndrome. Like insomnia is normally lack of sleep or like lack of continuous sleep or lack of falling, difficulty in falling asleep. And hypersomnia, this is excessive daytime sleep. Parasomnia, like having nightmares or sleepwalking, which we saw can happen in NREM stage 3. In circadian rhythm disorders, for example, jet lag, and also like shift, like after you change to a different shift, you might find it difficult to fall asleep. And restless leg syndrome. Next, treatment of sleep disorders. In transient insomnia, use the lowest dose of hypnotics with a short duration of action for 2 to 3 nights. And short-term insomnia, the patient should be given counseling and use lowest effective dose of hypnotic 30 minutes before going to bed. And after getting 1 to 2 nights acceptable sleep, skip one dose. Use it intermittently 2 to 4 times a week. Then be alert to rebound insomnia. Coming to chronic insomnia, psychotherapy and behavioral therapy should be done, and chronotherapy should be done. Chrono means time. And treatment of associated depression and psychosis, if any, if the patient is suffering from them, and use hypnotics as adjuvants every third night and discontinue gradually after 3 to 6 months. So that is the end of sedatives and hypnotics. Now we will move on to anticonvulsants. So what are the definitions you should know? Seizure. What is seizure? Seizure is a sudden and transient episodes associated with abnormal excessive electrical discharges from a group of central nervous system neurons. So there are abnormal excessive electrical discharge at the neurons. And epilepsy is a collective term for a group of chronic disorders characterized by recurrent seizures. So if you are having the recurrent seizures because of maybe any cause, this will be called as epilepsy. And it is associated with the disturbance of consciousness and or a characteristic body movement, that is convulsion, and sometimes autonomic hyperactivity. And these seizures also sometimes will be called convulsions. Don't be confused. So types of seizures: generalized seizures, focal seizures, focal generalized or unclear epileptic spasms. So in generalized seizures, again, they are divided into absence seizures, tonic-clonic seizures, tonic seizures, atonic seizures, myoclonic seizures, and infantile spasms. In absence seizures, the patient usually goes blank for like less than 30 seconds. It can also like the patient will not be knowing that he went blank for that few minutes, a few seconds. And it can be also associated with chewing movements or eye blinking, etc. Usually, it will be present from childhood. It will be growing up. They might not realize that it is a seizure. Coming to tonic-clonic seizures, here both tonic and clonic phase will be there. Here, the patient will fall unconscious. Unconscious. There will not be any aura like any signs that he is getting to be getting a seizure. He suddenly falls unconscious, and there can be after the seizure post-ictal. Post-ictal, the word post-ictal means after the seizure. After the seizure, he might have headache and mild amnesia, like he forgets what happened. And tonic seizures, here there is the same. Without aura, the patient might fall unconscious, but there is no clonic phase. Coming to atonic seizures, these are also called drop attacks. The patient suddenly loses his postural balance. He suddenly falls and lose consciousness. There will not be any tonic or clonic movements. He just falls unconscious. Coming to myoclonic seizures, in myoclonic seizures, there there is repeated muscle contractions, myoclonic seizures. And coming to infantile spasms, these are characterized the by extension or flexion of the proximal arms and also truncal muscles, maybe because of immature central nervous system. So these are the types of seizure, and the causes of seizures can be genetic or hereditary, or any brain lesions or any infections to the brain, like meningitis, metabolic disorders, and sudden withdrawal of any drugs of abuse, and viewing television, disco flashes, and listening full blast sounds can also cause seizures sometimes. And treatment should go on like this. Like first, try to find the cause of the seizure, and the therapy is aimed at control because these drugs do not cure the epilepsy, they just control. So the type of seizure determines the choice of drug, and mostly monotherapy, like single drug can be given, but if the patient is not improving, one more drug like multi drug therapy can be taken, but mostly monotherapy. And then should see the drug is achieving steady state kinetics, and we should that drug plasma drug level should be monitored, and we should avoid sudden withdrawal because it can precipitate a seizure again. Coming to classification of these drugs, based on their site of action and the mechanism of action, they're divided into following: inhibition of voltage gated sodium channels to slow neuron firing. Example, phenytoin, carbamazepine, valproate, lacosamide, rufinamide, lamotrigine. Enhancement of the inhibitory effects of the neurotransmitter GABA. Example, phenobarbital, benzodiazepines, tiagabine, valproate. Blockade of NMDA and AMPA receptors. Example, felbamate, rufinamide, phenobarbital, topiramate, lamotrigine, perampanel, and valproate. Blockade of voltage gated, excuse me, blockade of voltage gated anti-calcium channels. Example, lamotrigine, gabapentin. Selective binding to synaptic vesicular proteins, SV2. Example, levetiracetam, gabapentin. Blocking effects of neurotrophic factors. Example, lacosamide. And inhibition of P-type calcium channels. Example, ethosuximide. So this is the diagram showing how they are acting on different parts. And GLU here is glutamate. As you know, glutamate is an excitatory neurotransmitter, and the influx of sodium and calcium will help in the uh, formation of this glutamate, and it is being held inside the vesicle. So this vesicle is being held together with this vesicular protein, synaptic vesicular protein, SVTA, and later this glutamate should be released into the synapse, and which will act on the receptors those are NMDA and AMPA receptors. When they act on these receptors, they open this channel, sodium channels and calcium channels. This is calcium channel. No, calcium channel is a voltage gated one. So this is how normally it should happen. So also another thing, GABA, is an inhibitory neurotransmitter. This is the same as the glutamate, And the drugs we are seeing, we see they are either promoting the glutamate. They are they are not promoting, they are inhibiting, the glutamate action. So they are decreasing the excitatory action, which is what is happening, as you know, that because of repeated firing of the neurons, you are getting seizures. So you should decrease the firing. So they are controlling, they are inhibiting the glutamate, uh, or they are enhancing the GABA, which is a inhibitory neurotransmitter. So they are enhancing the GABA or acting on the GABA receptor, and it is agonist. Like for example, they are facilitating the GABA. So this is how they act. Different anti-epileptics, that is, or anticonvulsants. So coming to individual drugs, coming to phenytoin. This is the oldest non-sedative anti-epileptic drug. It is chemically called as diphenhydramine, and fosphenytoin is a prodrug which converts to phenytoin in plasma. It is this phenytoin is taken as fosphenytoin. Coming to mechanism of action of this drug, at therapeutic levels, it blocks use-dependent sodium channels, and due to which it inhibits the generation of repeated action potentials. So, and at higher doses, it also reduces the influx of calcium. So both these actions reduces glutamate release, because of which we can decrease the seizures. Coming to therapeutic uses and plasma levels, anti-epileptic uses of this drug are partial, like it can be used in partial, generalized tonic-clonic seizures and status epilepticus, but phenytoin is contraindicated in petit mal and myoclonic seizures. Coming to non-anti-epileptic uses, trigeminal neuralgia, it can be used as a second choice of drug, and in ventricular arrhythmias due to digital toxicity also, it can be used. Coming to therapeutic plasma level, usually normal therapeutic plasma level is 10 to 20 micrograms per ml. If it gets more than 20 micrograms per ml, it can lead to toxicity. Coming to pharmacokinetics, that oral absorption of this drug is slow but is complete and cannot be given intravenously or intramuscularly. It might cause thrombophlebitis, or when given intramuscular, it can cause pain. 90 to 92% of this drug is protein bound, and it is a potent enzyme inducer. And metabolites are eliminated through urine, also excreted through saliva. This elimination of drug is first, it follows saturation kinetics, but when it increases to greater than 20 micrograms per milliliter, it starts following zero order kinetics. Coming to plasma half-life, it is about 24 hours. Dose 300 milligrams per day may be increased in small increments of 25 to 30 milligrams for attainment of steady state plasma concentration. Coming to adverse drug reactions, overdose toxicity can happen, like plasma levels beyond 30 micrograms per ml can cause toxicity. It is characterized by nystagmus, ataxia, and central nervous system depression, lethargy, and blurred vision. And when this drug is taken for longer times, that can cause chronic toxicity, which is characterized by gingival hyperplasia, megaloblastic anemia, vitamin K deficiency, vitamin D deficiency. Coming to other adverse drug reactions, it can also cause hirsutism, hyperglycemia, and when used during pregnancy, it can cause congenital malformation like cleft lip, cleft palate, congenital heart disease to the child, and hypersensitivity reactions can happen also. This drug, if suddenly withdrawn, it can precipitate withdrawal seizures. So it should be gradually tapered. Come to drug interactions, since it's an enzyme inducer, It increases metabolism of corticosteroids, ocipils, doxycycline, rifampicin, theophylline, levodopa, vitamin A, vitamin K, etc. These are all also being metabolized by the enzymes. So it will be increased and their action will be decreasing. Coming to enzyme inhibitors like disulfiram, cimetidine, isoniazid, chloramphenicol. These decrease the metabolism of the phenytoin. Carbamazepine, phenobarbital, and phenytoin increases each other metabolism. Sodium valproate displaces protein-bound phenytoin. Now coming to phenobarbital and primidone. Phenobarbital binds to the channel modulatory site of GABA receptor and enhances GABA-mediated inhibitory effects by increasing the duration of chloride channel opening. So as we saw in the diagram, it acts on the receptor and causes the chloride channel opening. It increases the duration of the opening. Also inhibits glutamate-mediated excitatory effects by blocking AMPA receptors. We saw those NMDA and AMPA receptor. And at higher doses, also blocks L-type calcium channels and use-dependent sodium channels. Coming to therapeutic uses and plasma levels, both are effective against partial seizure and generalized tonic-clonic seizures. GTCS means generalized tonic-clonic seizures. Phenobarbital indicated for prophylaxis after febrile seizures in children. Sometimes children might get seizures when they have high fever. So those are called febrile seizures. Once they get it, after that, for prophylaxis, this phenobarbital is indicated. And therapeutic level 10 to 40 micrograms per milliliter most patients, but many patients can tolerate chronic levels greater than 40 micrograms per milliliter. Usual doses, phenobarbital 60 to 180 milligrams daily orally at night. Primidone initially 125 milligrams daily at night, slowly increased to 250 milligrams twice orally. Coming to pharmacokinetics of the drugs, oral absorption is slow but almost complete and metabolized by liver and potent enzyme inducer of these enzymes. These are cytochrome P, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 6A. Plasma half-life of this drug, these drugs is for phenobarbital, it is around 100 hours. Coming to adverse drug reactions, it can cause gingival hyperplasia, coarsening facial features, and hirsutism. And when given with phenytoin, teratogenicity will increase. Paradoxically, it may cause irritability and hyperexcitability in children. Why it's called paradoxically? Because normally it should be decreasing the like excitability or irritability as an anti-seizure, but paradoxically it might cause irritability and hyperexcitability. Next drugs, carbamazepine and oxcarbazepine. Structurally, these are related to tricyclic antidepressants. Therapeutic profile of oxcarbazepine is similar to carbamazepine, but toxicity profile is better, means adverse reactions might be lesser. So these drugs block use-dependent sodium channels, thus inhibiting the generation of repetitive action potential. Therapeutic uses, anti-epileptic uses, drug of first choice for partial as well as generalized tonic-clonic seizures. These are contraindicated in absence seizures. Non-anticonvulsant use, trigeminal neuralgia, and manic depressive psychosis. Therapeutic plasma levels 4 to 8 micrograms per milliliter is therapeutic plasma level. Usual adult dose 100 to 200 milligrams orally twice or thrice daily can be increased up to a maximum 200 to 400 milligrams twice or thrice daily. Oxcarbazepine 300 milligrams twice daily can be slowly increased to 450 milligrams twice daily. Oral absorption of carbamazepine is slow. Distribution mainly is in brain, liver, and kidneys, and metabolized by the enzyme cytochrome P3A4. But oxcarbazepine is a very poor enzyme inducer, so it is rapidly converted to 10-hydroxy metabolite, which itself has anticonvulsant effects. Coming to dose-related adverse drug reaction, drowsiness followed by dizziness, headache, slurred speech, vertigo, ataxia, and diplopia. These are dose-related adverse drug reactions, but sometimes it can cause allergic reactions like rashes and fever. And carbamazepine stimulates this ADH secretion, increases that hormone in the body. The risk of teratogenicity is low, but can induce fingernail hypoplasia, craniofacial defects, and delayed development of fetus. There is a possibility. Coming to drug interactions, erythromycin, fluoxetine, and isoniazid inhibit metabolism of carbamazepine and precipitates the toxicity of these carbamazepine. And carbamazepine and phenytoin increase each other's metabolism. Being enzyme inducer, it also increases metabolism of steroids and oral contraceptive pills. Now coming to azoxystrobin, it belongs to succinimide group of anticonvulsants and drug of first choice for absence seizures. It is also called pure petit mal drug because like it acts on absence seizures itself. So it is called pure petit mal drug. Absence seizures are also called petit mal and this drug inhibits low threshold T-type calcium channels. Therapeutic plasma levels are 60 to 100 micrograms per ml. This can be achieved by an oral dose of 20 to 30 milligrams per kg per day. Pharmacokinetics and adverse drug reactions. Absorption is almost complete after oral administration, metabolized in liver. Its metabolites are excreted through urine. Drugs obey first order elimination kinetic. Adverse drug reactions include causes gastrointestinal distress, headache, dizziness, hiccups, lethargy, and euphoria. Non-dose related idiosyncratic adverse drug reactions may include skin rashes, fever, eosinophilia, and bone marrow depression. Coming to valproic acid, sodium valproate, it has a broad spectrum activity because it has like multiple mechanism of action. So it acts very like broadly. Example, like this 4 different mechanism of actions blocks use dependent sodium channels and it increases GABA activity by activating glutamic acid decarboxylase and by inhibiting GABA transaminase. Means it inhibiting the degradation instead like also increasing the formation of GABA. And